Hey, you beautiful souls. So it doesn't take me tapping into my intuitive abilities to know you're not getting what you want. You hear from people like myself and many others that manifestation is possible. It completely is. But as I have said many times before, it is a very simple concept, but it's not necessarily easy to do. So today we're going to talk about what gets in the way of manifestation. What makes this a hard process? And talk about how to get through those things so that you can bring about that bright, beautiful life that you desire. So to anybody who's never been here before, hi, I'm Elizabeth Blackwell, and I've spent well over a decade of my life educating myself so that I can help others set sacred space and find their highest and greatest selves. So let's get into this conversation about why manifestation can be so difficult at times. So I am going to compare learning to manifest. It's kind of like learning to drive a car. It's a fairly simple process. You put the key in, you turn the car on, you put that car into gear, and you go either forwards or backwards by putting your foot on the gas. And then you try to keep it in the lane. But there are so many things that can influence this very simple process before you really get going in the right direction. Are you trying to drive with your foot on the brake? Do you know where you're going? And so many more things. So it can be a fairly simple process, but there are a lot of things that can influence how successful you are at completing this. So let's talk about what are some things that can influence how well you're manifesting. In the video I made on how to manifest, which a lot of you found me through, and I just want to give gratitude to all of you for joining this tribe, I give this simple steps. We create with our thoughts, we align from our heart, and we act from our gut. But just like me throwing you the keys and saying, go ahead and drive, sure, a lot of people will jump in the car, know the steps, and take off. But there's also a lot that can get in the way of those manifestations. So let's talk about the things that can influence your journey and can sometimes block your manifestations or cause resistance along the way. In a previous video, I have gone over some of the broader topics of things that can get in the way of your manifestations. And I'm going to link that in a card above as well as the description box down below. But that is things like a lack of clarity or fear and doubt getting in the way or a lack of action towards getting what you want. And so I suggest you go there if you need some of those broader topics. But for today, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the things that can sometimes unknowingly cause resistance along our journey. So please know I am trying to strike a balance here because I have gotten some feedback between you talk too much to where's this long list of everything you've brought about and kind of can't do it all. So I am trying to give you guys this information so that you can utilize it along your journey without over-cluttering it with too much so that it gets overwhelming. So for the first thing that can make manifestation difficult is our subconscious programming. And for anybody who's ever seen that diagram of what an iceberg looks like, that's really what's going on here. Our consciousness is just that 10% that sticks above the water. But our subconscious and the deep programming that we have inside of us is that 90% that's below the waterline. And a lot of it goes very deep. Because our subconscious goes so deep, this is not something that you're going to fix overnight. Anybody who tells you that it's a really quick process is trying to sell you something. But it is something that you want to start shedding light on. So in order to begin this process, You really just need to spend some time in your own mind, in your own thoughts, doing that work to go within. So you want to start asking yourself, what are my beliefs? You want to start looking at what are patterns in my life that will help you establish what programming that you may have into place. And it is a process that you want to start working on over time, because yes, we absolutely need to program in the positive, but you can't just write over it. You've got to know what is there first so that you can start to move away from that before you start to put the positive in place. If you've stuck with me this far, consider subscribing, because I'm all about taking well over a decade's worth of knowledge and experience and bringing together a group of conscious creators that are helping to get to their highest and greatest self. And if this video is serving you, think about hitting the like button as well, because it really does help out small channels like this and helps others find this content to build their manifestations and get to that bright, beautiful life that they desire. The second one, I think, is an issue for a lot of people. And I'm actually going to make a full video on it because it was requested in my comments. But it is trying to manifest when you are around a negative person or people. And this is one that can so heavily influence our manifestations. If you have somebody that is close to you, or a group of people that is close to you that are really negative and just in a very low vibration, that draws so much of your energy away from what you are trying to bring about and makes the process much more difficult. So again, I'm going to make a full video on this, but this is the quick and dirty if you're trying to bring about manifestations around a lot of negativity. Number one, you have to be aware of it. You have to know what things are drawing your energy or are pulling your thoughts into a lower space. And then two, you have to work to detach from it. So understand that it is there, but it doesn't have to actually influence you. This next one I've kind of touched on before, but it is a lack of alignment with what you desire. But again, that is a very broad topic. What does it mean to really align yourself with what you're trying to manifest? So for my very brief explanation on alignment, I'm going to break it down into just a few key subjects. Number one, is this something that you truly desire? Or is this just something that you think you should want? Do you believe in it? Do you believe? Can you picture yourself in that manifestation and all of the joy that it will bring to you? And then, are you prepared internally and externally for when it gets there? So when that door of opportunity is opened in front of you, are you aligned to take the steps towards it? Another thing that can make manifestation much more difficult is holding on to the past. Are you holding on to grudges against people? And that's pulling your thoughts and your energy in a really negative way. I always say, forgive everyone of everything. Now, if somebody hurt you, that doesn't mean that you go back and allow them to do it again, but you forgive them and then remove your energy. And then, are you holding on to regrets? Are you thinking of your past in some sort of regretful way? The way I like to look at this is, and trust me, I've made many mistakes in my past, but I try not to even look at them as mistakes anymore. I look at them as an opportunity to learn something. If I hurt somebody, I say I'm sorry and then move on. If I have injured myself, then I look at it as a learning opportunity as to what not to do in the future. But forgive everyone and mainly forgive yourself. Another area that can cause huge resistance when trying to manifest is overthinking your desires. Are you getting caught up in that analysis paralysis where you think so much on it, or you're getting caught up in the details, or how you think it should come about, and that you're spending so much time in that you're not seeing doors of opportunity that are opening to you? Because maybe you're so focused on the fact that I think my manifestation is this way that you're not realizing it's sitting right there. So you've got to kind of let go of the details. Don't get so caught up in how you think it should come about, but just trust and follow, knowing that your manifestation will get to you in the exact time that it's supposed to. A huge blockage of your desires, and certainly one that I struggled with, is a resistance to change. Usually, the bigger the manifestation, the bigger the change. So if you are resistant for that change to come about in your life, then that will be a huge blockage preventing you from getting to whatever you desire. Something that really can make manifestation harder is if you have unclear priorities. Do you have too many goals or too many areas that you're focusing on? Because when you have too much on your plate, that dilutes your time, your attention, and your energy. You have to know what is most important to you. Yes, you can have many things that you're trying to bring about, but you need to know what's most important to you so that you can know where you're focusing that time and attention and your energy, and to know where you want to bring about change first. So then this leads me into inconsistency in our vibration will complicate the manifestation process. Yes, it's absolutely natural to have our ups and downs. But when we are mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically bouncing all over the place, it starts to lead to an erratic feeling in our vibration. And therefore it becomes harder to focus on what we are trying to bring about. So one of the ways that I like to look at this is that as you naturally go through the ups and downs of life, it's that having trust or belief that whatever it is you're going through, that there's a reason for it and that it is leading you towards whatever you desire. And I feel like it's important to point out here that when it comes to that consistency in your vibration, I'm going to take it back to the driving metaphor. That once you get in the vehicle and you figure out how to operate it, if you really want to get to where you're going, you got to know where that is and stay on point to get there. Knowing that there may be some detours for getting gas or whatever you need to do along the journey, but you're staying in that same direction. That if you're trying to do this and that and you're all over the place, that it's going to take longer to get to wherever it is that you're trying to get to. Something that can cause a lot of resistance is when we get overwhelmed and are stressed. We all have a lot going on in our lives. And so it is very important that you take time to go within in order to maintain focus, that you have time to decompress, and that you are prioritizing that self-care so that you can reinvigorate yourself, so that you have the energy to take the steps towards what you want, but also you have that internal energy that will drive you towards whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. So I still stick by the fact that the process of manifestation is very simple, but I know that it's not easy, but life is not easy. So if there's anything that I can kind of refine this down to, I'll go back to what I said in the last video. Identify where you are getting resistance. Is it in those thoughts and knowing what you really want? Is it in your alignment or the feeling state? Or is it in taking action towards? And know what internal or external things are influencing you and causing blockages or resistance along your journey. So with that, I will say I am sending you all so much light and love, and I hope you all stay well, my friends.